I know you have a busy schedule today, so I appreciate you coming out and taking the time to look at our products and talk about some of the safety topics that we want to go over today. So what we're going to be talking about is two distinct products that are soft launched already and are going into a full launch. So our Sentry 79 sensor, it's a radar sensor for object detection and safety in heavy-duty vehicles. That one has been launched for approximately 1 year, and since that 1 year we got it into the market, we were able to do some research and analysis on what the market needed with this sensor. In the construction industry, the sensor was ready to go, and we made some modifications to fit it better into especially the UN regulations. So that's what we're going to be talking about, products that are out there going into full launch with new capabilities. Before I dive too deeply into that, I'd like to give you a little bit of background on PreView Radar and also PreView Radar's relationship with Sensata Technologies. PreView Radar has been in the safety industry for 62 years. They were the first company to manufacture and produce backup alarms for heavy vehicles. That was back in the 60s. And then in 1999, PreView decided to step away from the backup alarm. They still do it, but they changed the focus to active object detection with radar. So in 1999, we developed our first radar technology. It was very successful. We moved that into further definitions of radar, different technologies in radar, sub-products based on that technology, and then we rolled out a new technology back in 2015 to 2017 as we built that out. And this new product here replaces that technology. So now we're moving into something that's a little more efficient, effective, customizable, allows us to be more flexible, and it allows us to provide something that is a solution for some of the regulations that we're seeing on the market right now, especially in Europe with UN regulations R151, 159. In 2021, Sensata Technologies acquired PreView Electronics, and since then we've been with Sensata Technologies. They offer us a lot of support. They offer us the market knowledge and the know-how. Sensata has been in heavy vehicles for a very long time, focusing on industrial sensors, TPMS sensors, they do electrification, pretty much everything you can think of. Some that I never remember until I go to a trade show and I realize that we do stuff in aerospace as well, joysticks, foot pedals, all kinds of stuff. So Sensata has a very robust background in the market, and we've been able to utilize that support and reputation as well. And PreView is, speaking of reputation, PreView has a reputation of being one of the best radar manufacturers, one of the most experienced radar manufacturers in the world when it comes to radar for heavy vehicles. So having said that, I'll walk through each demonstration and show you what the products are, what they do specifically. If you all want to step up a little bit closer, I hope I'm not echoing too much back in the corner. If I am, you can say something, I can take this off and raise my voice if that helps at all. This is the side sensor. It's our Side Turn Assist 79. It's a dual antenna side sensor, so it has one antenna that's going to look forward, one antenna that's going to look backwards. That's going to cover the UN regulation 151 for blind spot information system, and covering the entire side of the vehicle all the way back to the specified distance behind the vehicle as well as in front of the vehicle, all accomplished with a single sensor. We do see a lot of competitive sensors that stack sensors up, have multiple products to cover the entire side of the vehicle. We're able to get that one side with one sensor. Some of the important factors about this sensor is that it's designed to alert on moving objects only and ignore stationary objects, so it's not going to be alerting on park benches, lamp posts, guardrails if you're driving down highway systems. It's only going to alert on what's really important, and that's the people on the roads, the bicyclists, the pedestrians walking around, so our vulnerable road users that we need to protect. And it's what we really strive for as a safety company. It's about protecting the people, and that includes the operator. It's peace of mind. It's knowing that they're being warned when they need to be warned. And for the pedestrians, they're going to be safer as we reduce the accident, the injury and fatality accidents. Pedestrians will feel safer and safer knowing that these trucks can see them when they're big enough that they're always going to have blind spots. So with this sensor, I'll use the bus as a reference point. So on a bus, it would be mounted on the side. One of those antennas is going to be looking forward, one's looking backwards. We can also adjust out to the side. And keep in mind, I mentioned earlier configurability and flexibility. It's a very important point because as much as we all like one size fits all, one size just doesn't fit all. We have so many vehicle types and sizes out there. How many countries in the EU? I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I probably should be able to, but there are a lot, and they're all different. The streets are different. Everything's different, so you can't predict that. But what we do is we ensure that we can take that information from the customer, configure it, make it flexible, so that this can be adjusted for all those scenarios. So we can adjust how far forward it's looking, how far back it's looking. If you want to go further than the legislation requires, we can do that. For areas that there is no legislation, we can customize it to just the vehicle and the scenario. So we can do all those customizations to ensure that in the end you're getting the product you need for the environment you need it in. The sensor itself is going to work similarly to what you would see with most vehicles today. If you're just driving in a straight line, and let's say a bicyclist comes up behind you, you're not going to make a turn, you're going to get alerted with a yellow light for where that bicycle is on the side. So it's going to tell you something's there, but it's not going to warn you about it. You don't need to be warned until you're making a turn or intend to make a turn. This demo, where it's sitting in the stand right now, and because we're not moving past it, I'm not going to be able to live show you. I'll give you an idea when we get to that one what you're going to see. But this one, it's set up to be out in the front and watch people walking by and then it goes off. But for now, I'll just tell you what it does. So yellow light would come on for something on the side. The second the operator turns on the turn indicator, it would become a red light flashing with an audible alert as well. So that means that there's something there, needs to be looked out for. Check your blind spots, be a little safer, and then the operator knows that there's something there and they can pay attention. One thing that's included in this sensor's technologies is it has an inertial measurement unit in it, and what that does is similar to what your cell phone would do when you flip it and the picture flips. It can sense the movement of the sensor, and so if you're driving down the road and let's say the operator does not turn the turn indicator on, that IMU will then predict that there's going to be a turn and will engage that full warn feature without the turn indicator. It's a redundancy to ensure that we get that warn if the turn indicator isn't used. I would love it if everybody used the turn indicator all the time, but it just doesn't always happen, so we wanted to include that in there to make sure that the warning was there. We can also integrate into OEM systems, so we can connect to the vehicle's CAN, and we can pick up the communication information from the vehicle and get additional messages such as steering angle, so we can achieve the same thing based on steering angle, which is outside of actually using a turn indicator, is probably the most accurate and efficient way of gathering that information. Those sensors are very sensitive and very accurate. So from that point of view, it's all about the side. It's all about taking care of those vulnerable road users and ensuring that everybody on the road is safe and taken care of when it comes to those big vehicles that we have out there to be seen. So sometimes you can't see them, and we help ensure the operators can see the unseen. On our front sensor, we talked about it a little bit. We'll go into a little bit more detail on it. So this is for on-road and off-road. The side sensor is specifically for on-road as it stands. This one is for both. So this one is used in the construction industry and also specifically for UN regulation number 159 for moving off information system. And that's going to be for the front of the vehicle. So this is going to be looking at anything crossing in front of the truck and a little bit out to the side as well to cover objects that are about to encroach the truck. This sensor is also very configurable and customizable, so we can set it up to where when the vehicle is at a stop, it's not alerting, and then it begins to alert once the vehicle starts to move. We can also set it up to stop alerting at a certain speed, so take those definitions from the UN guidelines and set those up specifically to how the sensor's going to perform. And that's important because operator nuisance is something that comes up often with active object detection. We don't want to over-alert them. We only want to alert them when it's important. And we can set this up to do just that. When you're at a stop, you probably don't want to be alerted because you don't need to be. Some will like having that option, so we've included a function in some new software that allows us to do a nice, polite, slow alert when they're at a stop, so that they can still see that something's there and it's not beeping at them all the time. So something that's a little bit more a sensor that's operator aware, or an aware operator of the environment. Those are the things that we can create. We can adjust that to meet the needs of the company and ensure that we're providing the alert as they want to see it. So this sensor, again, it's part of that package. It's for regulation 151, 159 combined between the two. And with these two sensors, we can get the sides and the front covered for those regulations. I mentioned it off-road as well, and it's always important to add that it's an on-road show, so I always have on-road in my head, and that's what we talk about. But these sensors are very agnostic to the environment that we work in, so we can set them up for on-road and off-road and other scenarios. We do a lot of very odd scenarios with very niche vehicles, so very flexible in that aspect. What it really all comes down to, and I know I touched on it a little bit, it's safety. It's about reducing the percentage of accidents that we have, and especially when it comes to fatality accidents and injury accidents. My goal is to get that to zero. I would love to be able to get that number down to 0%. We no longer have fatality and injury accidents. Do I think we can get there? Yes, I think we can. I don't know how long it will take. But in the meantime, we reduce that percentage. We bring it down as low as we can get it, and we bring safety to the table. We want to ensure that everybody feels like they're safer and the efforts are being made. The statement itself is simple. We have a problem. It's accidents. The solution is much more complex. It requires a high level of effort and collaboration between technologies and companies. Ideologies have to change, and our part in that is a safety device that will add to what everybody else is going to put into the mix and eventually try to drive that number down to zero. So it's about seeing the unseen, it's about providing the operator with peace of mind, as well as the vulnerable road users, and ensuring that everybody is moving around as safely as possible. We all like to ride bicycles, so let's be safe doing it.